screen, and that's it. Perfect. Okay, and so it should work. Yeah, you cannot see it it's in the background. So you record the whole screen, and in the end, we can use that for the video.
All right.
Perfect.
Hey, hello everyone. I hope you got a refresher. So I have a lot of gadgets here.
Wait a second,
Oh, sorry.
I didn't mention this time, if someone's new here, the reason why we have those two cameras is because I'm recording it and putting it on YouTube, the talks. And the reason why we started the thing with my mobile phone is so we have a better quality of the question, because otherwise it's super noisy and doesn't sound good. Yeah. So let's start with the talk.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I hope you refresh yourself. I have quite a few things in here. It might be, so I'm going to be presenting in English. Slides will be in English. Slides will be online. Slides actually are online already. I will tweet the link to the slides, and if anything, so I might going to be in a hurry because I don't want you to fall asleep on me. So if you don't understand something, want to know more about something, just tweet me, just find me afterwards, and I will explain to you in more details. So we have a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive in. So I'm going to talk about, my name is István Smorzsánszky. I'm going to talk about hardware. István Smorzsánszky is not the easiest name to remember, so Flocky will be fine. I'm a JavaScript developer by design, and I do a lot of open source stuff. I'm a Mozilla contributor. I do a lot of talks for Mozilla. I'm a tech speaker. I do not work for Mozilla. At least they don't pay me for my work. And I'm a Tesla project member. If you haven't heard about Tesla, you will. It's an open source hardware project. It's flying under the flag of the jQuery Foundation now, so it's a fully open source hardware and software project. I will tell you more about it later, and them, so they aren't paying me for that either. So I'm doing front-end trainings for to earn my bread at DPC Consulting, which is a training company in Budapest, Hungary. I'm from Budapest, Hungary, by the way. So, for me, why so scripty? You could ask. Why would I going to talk about about JavaScript on hardware which is limited, and like we are talking about hardware with 64 kilobytes of memory, 32 kilobytes of flash, something like that, and a processor that's barely a few megahertz. So why would one want to do like JavaScript on that? And I actually got this art so much, so I wrote about a blog post about it. It's called JavaScript World Domination. I was talking at a meetup, and so many questions came in. I wanted to do just a quick like wrap up, just to do a blog post about all the things I couldn't answer at the after the 5-minute talk I did. So this actually ended up like a 60-page, 30-minute read. So if you have a boring Sunday afternoon, you might want to check it out. Basically, we are talking about JavaScript because JavaScript is pretty much everywhere today. And you might say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a cool thing, and we are going to see why is that a good thing and why that might be a good idea to work on web stuff, on JavaScript stuff, even on microcontrollers and limited hardware. So the first, I present you the first hardware I'm going to show you today. This is called the Espruino. Have everybody heard about the Espruino? Oh, there you go. So the first Espruino was about this size and was created in England. This one is actually the Espruino Pico, which is like a thumb drive. That's a USB connector in there. I'm going to show you just in a second how does that work. So what you need to know is the Espruino is a hardware that runs JavaScript right on the bare metal. It has a tiny microprocessor. I think it's an ARM-free processor. I'm not sure. But it runs like it has like its own JavaScript interpreter that runs JavaScript from source. If you are familiar with JavaScript, you know it's converted to an intermediate syntax and then compiled on the time by V8 and all the JavaScript runtimes. So this board has, I think, 128K of flash memory and 64K of memory, which doesn't allow it to do the source conversion. So it actually interprets JavaScript from like the source code itself. This turns out to be, so if you put more white space in a point, your program will run slower. That's and you could actually use that to time some stuff on that. So it's as bare metal JavaScript gets. Well, it gets you a lot of problems, of course, because it won't be. So it has its own interpreter, which uses a lot of stuff that's not compatible with ES5 or ES3 even. It doesn't have Unicode because of the size limitations, but it's pretty good anyway. And how good it's actually is, I let him speak instead of me. Let me just drop this on the other. Oh, shit. Yeah, there you go. So the fun thing about it is you buy it. It's actually it had a Kickstarter campaign, hugely successful, and what it could do is it has a Espruino Web IDE, which is like a Chrome application, completely written in HTML5 and JavaScript, and I hooked it up to the computer. Let me see if I can put it to there. Sorry, we have a lot of clutter. There we go. Oops, don't die on me. So on the top, that's the Espruino. It's hooked up to what we call an Adafruit NeoPixel. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that should work mostly. So that's an Adafruit NeoPixel. That's like a serial wired LED, RGB LED matrix. It's nothing very fancy. The lights that you use on your Christmas trees are basically work on the same principle. What we could do with this is I actually wrote like 100 lines of code. You can see it. It's JavaScript. It's not very big. Sorry about that. So I actually wrote 100 lines of JavaScript, but there are actually 2 lines of code you need to actually use this hardware from the Espruino. It's like a $20 if you order it from Adafruit. So it's not like you hook it up with some cables, and so here's it. I just wrote a few like convenience functions like setPixel, which I can say setPixel 1 and let's make it orange. There we go. Well, I don't think you're gonna see that it's orange, but But I can also do like set pixels from 22 to like 55 to whatever color this will be. Whoop. You're live coding bare metal hardware, and I have this prepared because this is a simple Vine liner you could do. It's actually, oops, let me see. Oh, come on. A simple one-liner that actually creates, I can copy, that's an interesting thing. So it actually creates like a color, it goes from red to like purplish. You can see it on the screen, but you could actually hack on by using JavaScript, by buying like 20 bucks of hardware, hooking them up to your computer, downloading a free web application, writing like 5 lines of code, and you're actually working on like all LEDs and all that stuff. You could hook up like sensors and all that to that. It will work. There is one other thing that's pretty cool about the Espruino. It's tiny, yeah. So it's pretty small. No, you can see it. Yeah, that's. So it's like the size of it is really like my thumb. So it's small, but it's actually besides being small, it's actually using a very tiny amount of power. So you could hook it up to a huge battery, and it would be perfect to do all your IoT needs that you might want. What it doesn't have though is network connections, so you are screwed if you want to connect to Wi-Fi or anything like that. You can hook it up, of course, via the GPIO ports. You are free to, but it's not as trivial as our second contender today, which is the Tessel 2. So the Tessel 2, we also have him here, which is a good thing because it's not actually released. The problem is it's going through a FCC validation, and they found some issues, so they had to create like a new hardware revision. So it's coming hopefully in December. You can already pre-order it. It's 35 bucks, $35. That's like 25 euros. And what's pretty cool about it, let me show you. It's more interesting if I show you than if you look at the slides. So what's very cool about it is that it actually has like USB ports on it. If you know a Raspberry Pi, so those are USB ports and a LAN port, RJ45 jack. So you could hook it up to network, and it also has built-in Wi-Fi connection. And besides all those, it has a Wi-Fi connection. It has it's actually running Linux. If you know about OpenWRT, if you have like homebrew Linux systems on your routers at home, you might have heard of it. It's running a special version of OpenWRT, and with that, it's actually running Node 4.0. So no more compatibility issues. The Tessel one had to transpile and compile, and actually was running Lua, not JavaScript, but you could code it in JavaScript. Now you are actually running bleeding edge ARM version of Node 4.0. And what you could use Node 4.0, well, you could do that for a Raspberry Pi, whatever. Yeah, but what's really cool about the Tessel 2 is they don't just expose. Let me see if I can make this a bit brighter to the eyes. Might hurt better. So on the side there are these extra extension ports, and the good thing about extension ports is they have like pre-built extensions for accelerometers, like cameras, extensions to hardware storage, all that things that you might want to hook it up to. So you can order these extensions, just plug it in, and the funniest thing about them is you can actually use NPM install npm, it's printed on the module itself. You just read it off the module that you ordered. You type npm install whatever, and it installs the module, and you use it in 3 lines of JavaScript. How easy it is to use in JavaScript is I'm trying to show you, if the demo gods are with me on this one. This is not going to need. So I hope you're having a good day. He's certainly having a good day. So this is actually, it's called the, okay, let me see if I can make this work. Now you don't see a thing about it. All right. So it's called the backpack. It's an 8x8 LED by Adafruit. It's a simple system. It connects with via ITC. And what you could do is, oh, all right. Let's see the IP. So what you could do, and you could do this actually with your phone, if you're connected to the same Wi-Fi, I think it's the 5 GHz Wi-Fi, you could just get your phone out of your pocket, type this URL in the browser, type 10.200.1.51. Let's see. No, it's not a good thing. Are you sure this is the IP address? 10.201.51. Crap. Okay, let's restart. See if that works. So I show you the code since hopefully it will restart and we will be back on the run. So much for the demo gods. I called out on them. So here is the code. That's it. Oh, that's commented out. 60 lines. 60 lines, and in 60 lines it actually is creating a node server. A node server that actually is serving you a web page from the board itself, and you could use that web page to interact with the board itself. So if you know the IP address of the board, good morning. Request timeout. That's another good thing. Do you have one wants to live demo? Cost is down. No kidding, right? All right. See about this later. Let me heat this up. This one. This works better. So what it's creating is actually it's creating an HTML page that you open from any browser that you have on you, and the browser will present you with a user interface that communicates with the board itself via Wi-Fi, and you are actually connecting to the board itself, serving its UI. No apps required, no nothing. You need just the IP address of the hardware itself. And we'll come back to this one. Let me see. The whole hardware, the whole software is open source. If you don't want to like pay $35 but have like your own Chinese friends and all that, or maybe a Chinese factory, you could like download the schematics and just build your own Tesla, what you wanted. Even better, if you like plug it in a few like accelerometers and all that, and you create like an actual product. Oh, you have it. Can you share the IP address with us?
No. It's the same.
Okay, it should work. Oh, that could mean that I'm disconnected from the Wi-Fi. Whatever. Well, anyway.
Can you show the display on the screen?
Yeah, sure. All right. Oh, there you go.
Someone found the access.
Yeah, somebody hacked it. Oops. So what I was trying to say, it's open source from the hardware, from the software as well. So what you could do is jump on in, go on GitHub, and help us out, like building the software for itself to be like the best prototyping hardware you ever had. And when you have prototype like a real hardware, you have a startup, and you're going like mass production. What you could ask for them is, okay, I have this prototype hardware, I have this thing running on it. It actually supports Node, but it's Linux, so you could use Rust, Python, and all the things you wanted. You could code C and compile ARM binaries. So I have this prototype product. I want to make a temporary run out of this. Please make me a board that integrates like accelerometers and Bluetooth, and you will get like with a discount, and they will help you get this board, your prototype product made. And you already have the software for it, and you will be refactoring because you don't want to do like low-level access in JavaScript, but nobody wants to do networking and web servers in C as well, C either. So you will be refactoring some parts of the software, and the other parts will remain in JavaScript and Node. And we are ending with something that who here has an Arduino? Okay. Who here has heard of the Ardu Boy? There was a Kickstarter campaign going on. Let me show you. So this is the Ardu Boy. We are having some concurrency issues with the Tesla. Okay, I actually have to unplug it because I need the USB ports. Oh, there we go. Good morning. So why would I bring up Arduino, which is programmed in C or C++? Why would I bring it up? There we go. Let me see. Why would I bring it up on a JavaScript meetup? Well, that's a good question. You don't have to do all the work in C or C++. You have to compile your application that you want to put on the Ardu Boy into an Intel hex format, binary format. But if you can make that application in any system, any language that compiles to Intel hex, you are fine. Sadly, JavaScript is not one of them. At least it's not trivial to get JavaScript to compile into a statically linked language like these requires. But you could do it from like whatever. Maybe you could do it like Rust or all the other new languages. What you could do though is you could create a game in C, and I have the source code somewhere here. Let me put this out to there. So I have the source code, and if you think about it, C, if you know JavaScript, is, well, inconvenient at best. You're not going to be writing like Linux kernels, and it's a pain to be allocating strings instead of being like garbage collected. But most of the code is just the same as if you created something in JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, putting together a simple C or C++ application for the Arduino or the Ardu Boy is pretty straightforward. So the Ardu Boy is actually not nothing else but the Arduino Leonardo hooked up to some buttons. There are some buttons in there. Let me see if I can make this actually workable. Somebody give me a larger USB cable. Alright, there we go. Okay. Oh yeah, of course it's gone because it was disconnected. There we go. Hopefully it's like that. Or not.
Yeah, it's fine.
Alright. Yay! So you could create a pretty simple code in C with some basic JavaScript knowledge. And that's a game I hacked together in like an afternoon. If anybody knows what that is. Oops. There you go. So this is like an afternoon's worth of work, and I'm not a C magician. The problem is with this, the Dino you see in there, it's actually this code here. There you go. Not very friendly, is it? It's actually a binary sprite mixed into the match. There are like representations and all that. So it's not straightforward. If you go around it, you can see how the specification works out, how the memory layout works out, and you could actually like hand code this. But why would anyone want to hand code binary sprite data? So what instead you could do, because you know JavaScript and you know web, is try and find your browser windows. There you go. What you could do is you could create an application that lets you draw a simple sprite and export it right in the correct format that the Arduino needs to be exported in. So here you can see it's the Dino of the game I showed you before. If we look at the source code, that's the source code right. Yeah, there you go. Right there. It's HTML and JavaScript and 170 lines in total. Most of that is crap. Because I just copied it over from a different place. But I hacked it together actually this afternoon because I wanted to show you something cool. So here is, I know JavaScript. So I created this web application. There you can see there is actually a binary map of the Dino. So when you load this application, it loads the binary map of the Dino into a canvas. And just as you could see on your phones, why would anyone want to do like this on their computers with their mouses? We have like these shiny touch devices in our pockets. We could just do this kind of stuff in our pockets, on our mobile phones, and send it over to our desktop and draw and create sprites and export them in the correct format and just push them onto the device. So here is a Dino. I wonder if I can make like, well, I'm not an artist, but there we go. Okay, this should work.
Next 2 minutes?
Yeah. So here we go. Let's say this is a dragon. It's not the best dragon you've ever seen, but what you could see is it's actually outputting some code in here. You could actually see it changing, and it's actually outputting some code. Let me see if I can just plug it in here. Just replace this code and just push this onto the device. Oops. I think I forgot something. Yeah. No automatic semicolon insertion for you. This is not JavaScript. Crap. What's that? Oh. Oh yes, did I talk? There we go. Should do. Oops. And you have a dragon. So even knowing JavaScript technologies when you're going deep down on hardware, it could be a good thing to have. And you could build your own tools that help out in situations when you don't want to do like anything else. And JavaScript is growing and the web is growing in very good ways to enable you to do all that much better. So yeah, there are some very interesting new technologies brewing, like WebVR and progressive apps and Bluetooth access to your from your browser and all that. And you could actually, there is a video in there if you check out this. You can actually fly from a web browser a drone via Bluetooth with nothing else but a web browser. So thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for the demo guts so my computer didn't blow up. There are the slides, slides.com/flocky/js-hardware, and you can reach me at slsoftworks or hello@flocky.hu. I don't know if we have like time for questions, but you could always like find me afterwards.
Let's make 2 minutes.
All right. Anybody has questions? Nobody has questions. I was so thorough. Yeah.
Does the Arduino require PC connection?
Sorry?
Does the Arduino require
No.
connection?
No, this was actually just so what you could see, if you could see.
So you can upload the program and
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is just unplug it. Feels like this is like a normal like power battery, and USB 3 is not close enough, so it works. So it actually has like a coin cell in there. So if we put like a coin cell in that, it will work for like 4 hours or something. It's like they just gone up for pre-order, so it's like a $40 or something. So it's not a big thing. So yeah, so and that goes for either of these machines. They need a USB for power, but most of them will operate on their own just fine. Okay.
The
Yeah.
is also
As well, it has like a little bit solder points. You could like solder batteries on there. So yeah, definitely. Or you could just use them on USB power from an external power source. Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you very much for hearing me out. Sorry.
Guys, 2 minutes to wrap up the evening.